we've just had a visit from Ken and Tina, and they left us some beautiful seeds, some hot chili peppers and some roselles, and some sweet yellow passion fruit. Oh wow, that is just so lovely. Right, son. Good morning from the Algarve.
Good morning from me.
Yeah, we've had a really busy week, haven't we?
Yes.
We've had Izzy and Spencer over for 11 days, so it was lovely to see them, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, very hot, really hot.
Spencer just realised how hot it was, and he tried to do some work with me, and the heat at that point was exceptionally hot.
Yeah, I mean, you can only work till about 11 o'clock. It's been
Outside, you only can work
yeah.
outside till 11 o'clock. You can work inside.
It's been around 40 degrees some of the days, which is just
Beautiful.
it's lovely, but the saving grace has been the pool.
Yes.
The
Yes.
swimming pool has just been marvellous. Yeah, Spencer's going to be coming over. He's given up his job now, so he's coming over on the 2nd of August to live.
Yeah,
he's
he's become a fully qualified builder like me.
And he's got a distinction, and so have you, haven't you, in building?
Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come out of retirement, well, semi-retirement, and we're going to probably set up a business together because he's young and he wants to, and it's very difficult to set up a business by yourself when you on your own in a different country. But when there's two of you working together, it's a lot easier to do it. So we'll work together, we'll get his little business building company set up and see how it goes from now on.
Yeah, and it's something that you've been wanting to do for a little bit, just to bring in some money.
And I'll be teaching him because there's some things he doesn't know, like how to tile and so on, and roofing. So although he's a builder, you normally in the UK you normally get roofers in. So I'll be teaching him how to expand his horizons by teaching him how to do different types of roofing.
Yeah, you've got a huge knowledge, haven't you, in building work? Yeah. And we've also had a bit of another expense which we didn't calculate.
Well, Sharon's again.
Let us down. She's been squirting again.
Yes, Sharon's been squirting shockingly, and it's to do with a front wheel power steering. The seals have gone, but it's like anything. It's a hot country, and the seals do go after a while. So you just have to look at it as an expense, like an oil change or a filter change, which we've got a bargain on it because Leo, who does all my work now.
Leo, who always comes down with a new attachment for Abe, has managed to do a deal with Abe. So he's getting that done cheaper, and Abe's bought a new attachment.
Yeah, the thing is, ironically, the night before I was looking at a scourge for the farmland. Now a scourge, which I'll be showing you shortly, is a tool which you connect to the back of a tractor, and it basically pulls out the stones from the ground, the smaller stones from the ground. Now I did it with my plough, but trouble is I popped 2 bolts on it, so I have to replace the bolts on the plough. A scourge allows, if you hit a big stone, it'll pull back, but it only pulls the small stones out. So it's an attachment I was seriously looking at, but they were very expensive.
Round the back of the property, the soil is beautiful and it's not so much of an issue, but all down the side here, it's very stony. So it is something that we will be
and the
using.
stones in the long run will save us money, because again, I'll show you what I'm doing to the front porch. I'm extending the front porch outwards, but I'm doing it with stones, and I'm going to lay it across the top and put a thin coating of concrete over the top of it, so it's not in the ground, it's above ground.
So today we're going to chat to you about our experience with the capital gains. Now, I think the thing is, in Portugal, I've heard so many stories, and every story is different. But we're just going to tell you our story of the capital gains.
Now, every accountant will tell you something slightly different.
Yeah.
Not a single accountant will tell you the same thing. So it depends on the accountant you have. Now, many accountants say that you can put the capital gains into your next property, but it has to be on the actual house of the property.
Yeah, and not a ruin. It cannot be a ruin.
Yeah, the capital gains cannot be applied onto a ruin.
So shall we just explain what the capital gains is?
Yeah.
The capital gains is when you've bought a house, it's actually the profit if you go and buy a house cheaper. So in our case, the capital gains was €100,000, which is quite a lot of money. But you have to, then you can take into consideration things like estate agents' fees, how much you spent on the property before. In our case, we spent about 40,000 on renovations of our lost property, so all that is taken out. We got an accountant, and oh my goodness, he nearly had us in heart failure, because he came back and he said that we had a £17,000 euro. Sorry, we had a €17,000 bill. How he'd calculated it, and he said that you couldn't roll it over to your new property. So we had like a weekend of just real worry, didn't we? Because when we got here, to avoid the capital gains, we actually bought loads of things, like bricks, the roofing, the wood, the windows, the doors.
But I bought it with the IMF number, and I also...
Oh, this is something that you have to be really careful. It's fiscal number,
Yeah.
right?
You have to use your fiscal number.
Yeah.
In every purchase, and on the receipt, you also have to have the address of the house you are living in, your primary address you are living in, which is tied to it. And on top of that, you have to have your name, so you have to have all your information on the receipt.
So 3 things you need on the receipt is your NIF number, your fiscal number, you need your name, and you need your address, or they won't accept it at the tax office.
Yeah, any of those items that are missing will not be accepted.
And another thing that the accountant actually said was that it should really be, in some receipts, it should balance 50-50 between you and your
Partner.
Your wife or your partner.
If the house is in joint names.
If the house is in joint names, but...
we didn't do that.
The house that we left, we had all the receipts for the renovation with the name, address and fiscal number.
And it was all
on.
primarily in my name.
Yeah, they were all in your name.
Yeah.
And then we've ploughed so much money into this. You haven't seen it yet because we haven't done the renovation yet. So the majority of the £100,000 we've still got in things to renovate.
Yeah.
So how it works out, it goes by the fiscal tax year. So when we bought the house in 22 November, well, we sold the house in November 22, we bought this in November 22. They only allow everything that you bought 22 to go through. So that's where they came back and said, well, you've got 17,000 outstanding. I actually said, well, it was you actually read up on it and said, surely you can roll it over to your next year. And the accountant came back and said no, didn't he,
Yeah,
at that point? And we were just so worried.
So I told the accountant to double check.
Yeah, but I think he was going under somebody else. I think he was under somebody who was the main accountant, and then they actually came back with another email
Saying that I was right.
saying actually your capital gains can be rolled onto your next property for 3 years. Now I have heard of other people that it's 5 years, it's 12 years.
It's
but
not,
this
it's free.
is what this accountant has told us.
And on top of that, you cannot spend, none of the capital gains money can be spent or deducted if it's to do with your grounds work. Like you can put your water pipe in, yes, that's the main, but you can't do any gardens or anything. It has to be, all the money has to be spent on the main house.
And also it cannot be tools either. They won't allow tools.
Which is a bummer really for me, because I have spent an awful lot of money on tools.
But I suppose in the other respect, tools are quite easy to be sold, aren't they? Sold
Yeah,
on once you've finished.
yeah. Once I finish, but in another respect, if I'm going to do a business with Spencer, I can't really sell the tools.
No, you can't. No, you can't. But I'm just saying that. Yeah. Because you don't want to sell your tools.
Never want to sell my tools. I love my
What
tools.
happened to a friend of ours? He actually sold 2 properties in the UK that he was renting out to buy a lovely big house here, and he realised once he's gone to the accountant that you can actually only pay have capital gains on one property, so the deficit on the other property is had to pay the capital gains.
Yes, which was quite substantial.
So that's quite a shocker really. So you do have to really look into all this. It's a bit of a minefield here.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So if you want to do a house renovation here, always make sure it's your primary address if you want to, and you have to live in it up to 2 years.
Yeah.
Now, what I've done here is I've now finally managed to cover all the pipe coming down the roadside here on our pathway, and I covered it, and I put the pipe, as I said before in the later video, in reinforced steel piping, which was actually our borehole pipe, so I've got pipe in pipe, because I've been having a lot of heavy equipment driving over. The original house was built like this, and what they did is they fill it with stones along the top, and they put a skim of concrete along the top, and that's the veranda, because you're not actually going into the grounds, but it's just an area which is flat where we can sit outside on. Totally legal on that front. Now I'm putting the water pipe underneath, again this time covered in plastic piping, which will shield it. Then I'm going to put more stones across the top here.
You've got a box somewhere as well, haven't you?
Yeah, and what I'm doing is I've got a waste box. I'll just go and fetch it. Now this is an inspection box, and it comes with a little lid on the top of it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the pipe going through here. I'm going to bury it in the stonework like so it's like on the top. And I'm going to put, if you spin the camera into it, I'm going to put the main valve on the patio front, which is one of these. So this is a plastic pipe leading off. So if we ever need to turn the water off, it's easy access to the pipework. So we can control all the water coming down here. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a couple of lights across here as well. It's a big staff here, so I'm going to put a light over here and a light here, which is the floor lights. Will look nice and pretty. Very low voltage, so hopefully we can run it on solar. This is my new toy, and it's called a scarab. It goes on the back of the tractor, and it's got 5 springs, but one's along the back. And it digs into the ground and it pulls the small stones up. When it hits this big stone, it'll flick and it'll go back down again. Now once I know where all the small stones are, I'll be utilising all the small stones for the area around the land, the walls and everything else. So a job like this, you cannot physically do it. It'll take you forever and a day to do it by hand.
Yeah, this is the area here which is quite stony.
And there's an awful lot of stones in this area here. which you cannot see. So once I've got them, if you can utilise the stones, you'll save yourself a lot of money. It'll pay for itself. So yes, it did cost me €450 for the scourge, but that also then another 300 for the repair bill for
Sharon.
But this little contraption here should earn itself. It'll get its money value for materials out of her. So this is a bonus piece of kit. Now once I finish using her, I will sell her, because once the land and all the stones are gone, we won't need her after that.
So me and Abe actually went shopping and realised we didn't actually give you the outcome of our capital gains thing. So on this house we had only November and December that we could put through this year, and the accountant actually came back to us and said that you actually owe €10,000.
So it reduced it by 7.
Yeah, but we've already spent the €10,000 this year, probably January, February, March.
Yeah. But we can't put it in until next tax year.
Yeah, so hopefully we're covered, but we've still got things to buy anyway. So
Well, but Belle said last night that now we've saved some money on the tax, can she have some more tree bones?
Belle can have anything she wants.
Yeah, she's a bit of a snuffle.
She's got a poorly tooth at the moment, but the issue with Belle is that we can't put her under to have a tooth out because she's got a heart condition. So it's either she has to put up with the tooth or
Antibiotics on a regular basis.
yeah. The danger is putting her under. She might not come round. So do you put up with the bad tooth and that situation, or chance they're not coming round? So we're
Well, the thing is, we can always get her some doggy dentures. So it's a great invention, doggy dentures.
So yeah, so that's how that's our capital gains journey.
Yeah, it's never worth worrying about anything until you know exactly what's going to happen. Now, the accountant is quite expensive, but I advise people that if you do properties themselves, always have a good accountant.
This is the thing. When anybody says anything, they say get a good accountant, and finding them are like hen's teeth.
And trust me, for what one accountant will say to you.
No disrespect to accountants in Portugal, but people always say get a good accountant, but it is something that's I've just found so many different stories in so many different scenarios, and they all tell you different things, so you have to go with what works for you the best.
The irony of it all is that if you make a profit in the old house, you have to spend, and because if you keep it,
it'll go to the tax.
It'll go to the tax office. So it's like you do get a better quality property at the end of the day, and it's always upgrading. Although I think this is probably our last upgrade, because I'm quite happy here now.
Yeah, it's lovely. We do like it here. So next week I'm going to do some sun-dried tomatoes.
And next week I'm finishing the pork chop.
Yeah,
but I'll show you how my scout works with my tractor.
Ive's going to get his new toy out next week, so you'll all be looking forward to that.